Hello, my name is Mark Lee from Underscored Brass. I'd like to say a few words today about the Rhapsody for trombone and brass band, composed by Langford and performed by originally by Don Lusher with Black Dyke in the 1970s. In that piece there is a cadenza that was constructed, I think, between Don Gordon and probably Bill Geldart. Bill often helped out in some of Don's pieces. And without further ado, let's have a look at that cadenza and we'll chat about possible approaches to it. Well, that wasn't absolutely spot on, but it gives you a reasonable idea. Now, the first thing to mention was I was actually playing that without music, and the reason for that is it's far easier to play a known solo without music than it is with music, because the last thing you want to be thinking is, what's the next note I've got to play? Professional musicians, when they play concertos, they don't just do that to show off. They do that to make it easy for themselves. Because if they don't know that piece backwards, then they're not able to perform it properly, obviously. Anyway, splitting the piece up into several sections. The first section should always be played to begin with very slowly, and you should always never play a piece faster than you can play it perfectly at a given speed, and then only then slightly increase the tempo to the desired required tempo. So when you start off etc. So you start off and maybe even slower than that, and then if you ever play too fast, then you're wasting your own time, because you'll learn it wrong and you'll then have to spend time later relearn it properly. So you may as well get it right the first time. So that's the first section. Now the second section requires the use of the super register, which obviously is not something you come across every day. In my long note daily practice, I always practice into the super register and into the very low pedal register. I know I'll virtually never need to use them, but if you can use the super register, then that makes the normal high register that much easier to access. One of the things about the super register is the fact that at that range all the harmonics are pushed close together. This was illustrated by one of Don's party tricks where he did what was called the inverse glissando. So with take a normal glissando, starting from an F, or in brass band terms a G, down to a D in a lower position, and then back up to the G in first position. So you go. Now then, if you stick that up 2 octaves, you can do an inverse glissando. So instead of going lower as the slide goes out, you go higher. So we'll still start on a G, but a G 2 octaves higher. There you go. So that was an inverse glissando. The other thing about the super register is, if you don't know, if someone asks you to play a tune and you don't know what the notes are, then you can play to the super register in any position. So take for example, I know Christmas has gone over, but take this for so there I had to use all the correct positions. Well, stick that up 2 octaves and you haven't got any such a problem. There you go. Now, you don't often want to play Hark the Herald in that register, but if you do, I'll play that in first. So you won't get the position wrong. That's one little cheat sheet for you. Right, the double tonguing section, the third section, basically it's just a graft really. But again, there are things you can do to help you. For example, so you've got now one thing you can do is try practicing by doubling everything up. So and then lower, or to make it even harder for yourself, an octave lower. Now it's obviously muddy down there, but if you can play articulate low, then obviously because the airflow is much higher at a lower pitch, then it's harder for your tongue to articulate the airflow. So if you practice it in the extreme, then it's going to be easier when you play as required. The rest really basically relies on good long note practice, and the last thing where you go from a B flat down to an F. Now Don, when he performed this, played it on a straight trombone, but you can't actually play a low pedal F on a straight trombone, so he ghosted the notes. Now even on an F change like this, you still have to ghost, so you've got the so I was actually playing the F in 6th, when really you can only play it, you can only play an F sharp in seventh. So you've got to ghost it. And well, Don was very good at ghosting notes. Anyway, what I would like to suggest is that I'll leave links for further advice. I would suggest that you get information off Brett Baker, who's also performed that with Black Dyke very successfully, and I'll leave a link to that, and also Marcus Reynolds, the embouchure specialist. Marcus can certainly help you with the high register part, and a lot of things. Brett, of course, can help you with the whole piece, not just the cadenza. I'll leave those links, and hopefully you'll have found this useful to some extent at least. Thanks very much.